Hey, welcome, Savage audience. I know many of you who have been with me for so many years are going to be surprised that I am going live right now in the middle of the day on the day off. Well, I'm here to celebrate something, and I wanted to celebrate with all of you. I never drink during the day in my 70 some odd years on Earth, maybe once or twice when I was a youngster. But this afternoon, I opened up the most expensive bottle of wine I found in my teeny little closet. It was a gift from years ago. It was a bottle of Opus One 2012. I just wanted red wine. Do you know why? Because I wanted red wine. Now, you can't go to restaurants right now because the fascists have closed down the restaurants. They can go to restaurants on the weekend and have 20 people there and say, oops, I'm sorry. But we the schmucks, we the sheeple, no, we can't go to restaurants. So I came home. I made some pre-made gnocchi. I didn't make it. It's from Italy. Oh, it's good stuff. Look at this. All potato, a little marinara sauce, fresh parsley. I'm going to have some lunch with you right now and talk about a few things. Maybe I will avoid politics because politics sucks. They can go fuck themselves, all of them. Pardon me, I didn't mean that. This is Italian, this is a Napa Valley Opus One 2012. It's a Bordeaux style wine. Normally, I love red wine in the winter. I will not drink it in the summer. I get a headache. It's strange how my body. I'm a natural guy, okay? It's a funny thing about wine with me. In warm weather, I can only drink white. It's raining like crazy out here in the Bay Area, so I need red wine. So I try to call a restaurant, and we're not open. We don't this. We don't have seats. Governor Schmendrick closed us down. I needed a glass of wine. So I said, why am I going to open like a $40 bottle when I have this stuff? So I opened this, heated up the gnocchi red sauce, and I wanted to share something with you. We all have a shelf life. Nobody thinks they're going to get old. Nobody thinks they're going to get sick. When you're young, you're not supposed to think about these things. It's a natural course of events. Everyone's immortal when they're young. And all your life, you run from mortality. That's what we do. That's the way it's set up. We're not supposed to think about mortality. If you're a religious person, they think about mortality every second. That's a terrible way to live, by the way. Horrible, nightmarish. So, as most of you know who have listened to me for many years, I come from a terrible, terrible inheritance with genetics. Wonderful brains. Unfortunately, Dad died at 57 of a heart attack. Grandfather died at 47, never met him, from the old country. And as a result of that, I drove myself crazy all my life. I searched the world for the answers. And so I earned 2 master's degrees in real sciences. One of the first master's degree, the thesis was published in its entirety by a division of Harvard University. A real honor. Those of you who know academia, master's degrees are usually not really worth very much. I intended to make mine as worthy of the word master's degree as I could. Then I got another master's. Then I got a PhD at UC Berkeley. That was many years ago, 78. Well, here we are all these years later, radio, all these other careers. And last year, coming up on the anniversary, December 5th, I suffered a heart attack. Now, you say it's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal to those who get them. So after the emergency room where I prayed to God, on the way into the emergency room in the gurney, like in the movies, you see the lights. So the doctor was a young, great guy, Harvard cum laude. He said to my wife, he said, Mr. Savage was doing something odd. He was mumbling at himself all the way into the emergency room. Yeah, I was mumbling to God. I wasn't mumbling. I was praying in English and Hebrew. Anyway, survived that, came out. So it's been a year now coming this December. And I never took medication at all my whole life. I had to be on these blood thinners all year, which just sucks my energy dry, kills me. And I'll go off them in December. and go back onto the nutrients that I know thin blood. I will tell you right now, I mean, there's so many things that will thin blood. I know it so well. I'm on a blood thinner, right? If I drink pineapple juice, I get bruising all on my body because pineapple juice has a substance in it that thins the blood to begin with naturally. Maybe I didn't drink enough pineapple juice. It was a terrible year for me the year I had the heart attack, which what was done to me in this industry by the bastards who make a fortune off my hide, what they did to me, these bastards, these suits, these, God hasn't yet spoken to them. He will. They will suffer tenfold what they did to me. Now, I will not tell you what happened to me this year because I'm still bound by a contract. Nobody would put up with or survive what I did and still be on the radio. But I stayed on the radio because I love my audience. And come January, I leave the medium that I gave so much to, that gave us so much, and I go to podcasting only. I know many of you don't want to follow me. Right now, we have hundreds of thousands of people downloading the podcasts. And so we're hoping that you will follow me over to the podcasts. And if you do, I will stay on it as long as God gives me the breath and the brain to do it. If we don't get enough of an audience, I have to make a decision internally by my birthday, which is March 31st, whether I stay or go. Because I don't really need to do this, truthfully. But I love talking to you. I love the world that I see. I love the world that I see and that I can express to you. I thought God put me here for that. Apparently, those in the radio business don't know the difference between a genius and an ambulance chaser who made believe he was a conservative. Then another one came along, another ambulance chaser. Became a hugely rich, the ambulance chasers in radio right now. They're all super patriots. The ambulance chasers were as patriotic as my dog's crap before they found out there's a buck in it. But I wrote the books. I wrote the books while these bastards were chasing ambulances and failed at it, and then went into radio. Do I have bitterness? No, I have anger and rage. That's different than bitterness. I'm not bitter. I'm angry and enraged. But I will tell you this. I'm going to stay with it as long as I want to stay with it, as long as you stay with me. So I need you to know that you got to switch to the podcast almost immediately, right? People saying, well, your son could we could not only buy the radio station, we could buy the radio business. I don't want to buy a radio station. I don't want to buy a network. We could buy the network, okay? I don't need it. I don't want to be involved. Let the ambulance chasers make their money right now. Make believe they're big conservatives. You know, the other one. You ever hear about the other one? Mickey Mouse and Laughing Gas? Another one. That's in the middle of the day here. It's 1:30. I never drink during the day, and I shouldn't even be talking. And I think my show is running right now with a Phil, and great guy. But I want to say this to you. Excuse me. Gnocchi's getting cold. I love potato. I love the idiots who don't eat bread. From the beginning of civilization, bread was a staple of civilization. In Assyria, in Egypt. And the morons discovered in San Francisco that gluten will kill you. So no bread. No bread. When the Soviets were starving to death because the Germans invaded a city, what would they have given for a piece of bread to survive, you morons, you? I mean, those of you, no gluten, no bread. Bread's the enemy now. It sustained civilization for thousands of years. It became the enemy of guys with the nose ring on Twitter. That putz. Where'd this guy come from? The guy creates a website that becomes more powerful than a president. See him before Congress today with the nose ring and the crazy eyes and the crazy hair. Wow. It just shows you, man. I'll tell you right now. Well, you know what I'm going to say. What's the point of saying it? Bread is the staff of life. It's in the Bible. Don't ask the idiots who write the books in San Francisco about it. My God. Bread became the enemy. Every civilization, a tortilla, a pancake, you name it. Pita bread. It's all wheat, morons. But okay, to them, bread is the enemy. They're the same ones who think the flag is the enemy. God is the enemy. Man is the enemy. Donald Trump is the enemy. Idiots. I need a drink. That is beautiful. That's beautiful. So I guess I'm just saying hello on a rainy day here in San Francisco. And if I didn't think, pardon me, if I did not think, just one last drop here, I'll finish the rest tonight. Look at that. Look at the color of this wine. Can you believe it? From the wine came the grape, from the grape came the wine. If I didn't think that my insights were worth your listenership, I would disappear. I would do a Johnny Carson. You'd never hear from me again. And so it's my way of saying I hope that you will understand as we enter the holiday season, although monsters like Fauci, oh my God, how do you people fall for this guy? I was on to him during the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. The guy looks to me like a front for Big Pharma, nothing more, nothing less. During the AIDS epidemic, all he did was push AZT. Never said close the bathhouses. Never said alter your behavior. Just said take AZT. I knew what he was. Gay people knew what he was. They called me every name under the sun. Remember, I'm the only person with the balls to have been banned in Britain for saying what's true. I'm the only one with the brains and the balls to say what needed to be said in San Francisco in the early 80s when Dianne Feinstein was destroying the city. And I'm still here. I'm not here to sell a book, but I will tell you this, and I want you to look back. I know many of you bought it, Our Fight for America. Look at the chapter entitled The Virus Profiteers. If you can find a better description of these low-life bastards who are capitalizing on this disease than you do in this book, I'll send you money back. I'll have one of the ambulance chasers get in touch with you. I'll have Mickey Mouse on laughing gas. So now they're saying ban Thanksgiving, ban Christmas. If the communist Chinese had invaded America and put a communist Chinese soldier on every street corner and said you can't have Christmas, you can't have Thanksgiving, they'd be shot dead in the street. From the what? 70 million people are armed to the teeth? And we're not going to do things like that. No, because we don't do that. We're not violent people. I am absolutely a man of peace, and you know that. There's going to come a time, though, that civil disobedience will be necessary in this nation to stop the Faucis, to stop these maniacs like Whitmer, and to stop them before they steal our life from us. But I don't want to get emotionally strained. I don't want anything more than peace and quiet. Bill Gates, the vaccinator. So why do I stay on the radio? People say to me, why don't you move to Florida? Why don't you get a big boat? Why? Tell me something. Is that what you live for? To live like a dirtbag like Kardashian, the waste of human DNA? You want to be that fat-ass Kardashian, that degenerate, and that degenerate husband of ours with the feet up on the desk? Why Trump ever had those douchebags in the White House, I'll never. Well, I know why. I know how that happened. He let those douchebags in the White House. And the reason he lost back, they cut me off on Twitter because I mentioned something about the great fraud, Dr. Fauci. Right away, they cut me right off. One of the third world dreckheads, a third world dreckhead in Twitter that they get for $15 an hour, cut me off. That's the country we're living in. That nose ring bastard can hire idiots like that to cut people off because they tell the truth. You know, we used to say in New York to people like you, nose ring, afangu. You know what that means? Maybe you didn't hear that in San Francisco. You built a website like this. Afangu, all of you. Look how they hire the garbage from the third world to be the arbiters of the truth in this country. It's unbelievable to me. Well, I don't know. We got a war on our hands, and we really have a fight on our hands. When you have a few bastards like this controlling the narrative, they can steal an election. Oh, sorry. Oh, look at the real results of the election on Twitter. They can tell you to take a vaccine that hasn't been tested properly. No one knows the side effects, long-term effects, autoimmune effects. No one knows any of that. But take the vaccine. Line up because Dr. Fauci wants you to take it. You know, I posted something today on my website, michaelsavage.com. Yes, I will tell you to go to it. And it's an important story. I found it in the Jerusalem Post this morning. Why it's not in the top, I'll never understand. It says less than half of Israelis would agree to be vaccinated against COVID-19. That's not what I put on Twitter. It's less than 22% will take the first phase of the COVID vaccine. Now, why are the Israelis important? Because the Jews are the canary in the coal mine. They know what government oppression can lead to. 22%, only 22% will take the vaccine in Israel. Maybe the numbers are lower here. I doubt it. I think the sheeple here are higher. They'll do whatever the government tells them to do. You see them running with the masks on. Do they go to the bathroom with the mask on? They still have sex with their wife with the mask on? What's with these people? They need the government to tell them when to put the mask on, mask off, mask on, mask off, take the vaccine. Then they'll send the fascists in with guns now to make you take a vaccine. Okay, let's hope that never happens. So here we are. Yesterday's podcast was, is the vaccine really safe? Will you take it? Am I allowed to offer my opinion, or does it have to go through the third world censors from Twitter or Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg didn't make enough money last year. He needs more. Huh? He needs more money? Well, anyway, folks, pay very close attention to what's coming, because what's coming is not going to be pretty. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what happened to my friend Matt Drudge. I have no idea what he did. Trump grand finale, bomb Iran. What is he doing? Crushing. Why is he attacking Trump day and night? I don't understand it. I don't know what happened to him. Very close to him, but I have no idea why he's doing this. Musk is making $170,000 a second. You hear this? I had a Tesla once. I gave it back after 3 months. What a piece of garbage. You ever have a Tesla? You ever drive the thing? It's like driving a bumper car on a freeway. You could run your roommate over without, they don't even know it's running. But aside from that, horrible with the big windshield light blinds you. The screen in the middle, a piece of junk. And by the way, the batteries, you know what it takes to make a battery in terms of environmental pollution? You don't know any of that because you only study San Francisco logic. It takes more energy to make the battery than it does to carbon monoxide, carbon footprint. They know about as much about carbon as they do about Nokia and about red wine and about wheat. They know nothing. My friend, all I want to say is this to you. The world is going to get so bad after the inauguration. That's assuming that the gangsters can steal the election from Trump. Assuming that Biden, the hologram in the basement, and his minions get to steal the election for Kamala Harris and the gangsters from San Francisco who will run the world. That's assuming. You don't know that 90%, well, not, excuse me, that's too high. A large percentage of the so-called left wing who voted for Biden because they hated Trump because of the brainwashing will beg Trump. They'll wish to God Trump was still in office. They'll beg to God he came back. You ask the average moron who hates Trump. Ask the morons who hate Trump, how are you suffering? They don't have an answer. I bicycle by houses. One day he will be gone like by magic. One day he'll be gone. Make Orwell a dream again. You ask these idiots, how have you suffered under Trump? They don't have an answer. You know why? They're brainwashed liberals who don't think, they feel. And what they feel is based upon the lies. How have you suffered under Trump, all of you left-wingers? Tell me. There's no answer. You never did so well in your life. You have never done so well in your life as under Trump. So here we are. Wait until you see what the progressives give you. Wait till you see the restrictions on speech. Did you see these stories yet that came out today? I'm doing a show. I shouldn't do it. Biden appoints anti-free speech Richard Stengel to transition team media post. Here's a scumbag of the lowest order who wants to ban free speech. Richard Stengel. He is the Biden transition team lead for the U.S. Agency for Global Media. You hear this? An Obama administration alumnus. Now, Obama, as you well know, was an Iranophile. Nothing Iran did was anything but great. That's because Obama is an Islamophile. I love how the sanctimonious Obama and Mrs. Obama can't shut their mouths, their big mouths, their big yaps. They made millions and millions of dollars, and they hate America. You hear and how they make it on racism, on false racism charges. You never saw anything like this. You never saw anything like this. So here we are, my friends, from my heart to your heart, from my glass to your glass. Who wrote this? Whoever answers this question wins a prize. It won't be anyone on the left. They don't know anything about history. You ready for it? Love comes in at the eyes. Wine comes in at the lips. That is all we shall ever know until the day we die. Written by a great white male. Whoever gets the right answer gets the right answer. God bless you. May God save America from these vermin on the left who have seen nothing yet of what's coming if they keep this up. And I hope to see you in January on my podcast, the Michael Savage Podcast. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.